really cloudy today. It's been cloudy for the past few days and I haven't seen the sky in so long. This afternoon I'm going to do a little bit of cooking. I'm going to make my comfort meal. I have two comfort meals. One is tomato soup and sourdough toasty with cheese on the inside, and then my second one is macaroni cheese. So I'm going to make a nice pot of macaroni cheese now before I start crocheting, so I have a bit of energy to generate ideas and energy to crochet. I love autumn. Autumn is such a cozy season. It's warm but not summer warm, and it's not too cold like winter cold. It's the perfect temperature, and I love the autumn breeze. Whenever the wind blows, you have these beautiful golden leaves that drop from the tree onto the road, and it just looks like the earth is sprinkled with confetti. It looks so beautiful. And what I love to do between the seasons is to explore my garden and see how the plants have changed. And I just took a quick stroll through my garden and I was able to see the different flowers, the leaves, the vines on my wall as well, and these little insects.
أنا وقلبي حوسنا عليك ما لقينا يا زينة ما درتي فينا أنا وقلبي حوسنا عليك. And taking a walk through my garden is what inspired this idea for a secret garden themed crochet bag. And it is still autumn themed because the tones that I use are very dull and very warm tones, similar to what you see in nature anyway when it is autumn. So here is my little mind map of what I would want my dream secret garden to look like. And as you can see, everything is kind of the same color. We have a lot of green, we have some red roses as well, vines and mushrooms and flowers, and just a lots of different unique nature themed things. So if I were to ever have a garden in my house, I would want it tucked away at the back of the land, and then I go through a small door and then I enter this amazing area, maybe with a lake as well, and roses and mushrooms and swans and everything. And that could be like my cozy crochet getaway area. I could even paint there or read. I would love to have a space like that. Probably not in a country that rains a lot because I feel like it would ruin the vibe. Like everywhere would be so muddy. But comment down below and let me know what you guys would want in your secret garden. And for this entire project, I'm going to be using yarn that I already have in the house. I need to stop buying yarn unnecessarily. Okay, so first, initially, I did not have this whole secret garden idea. I just wanted to make a basic granny square tote bag with these three colors of yarn. So I have this brown milk cotton yarn. I have a lot of milk cotton yarn randomly in my room because I used to crochet flowers a lot. And then here I have this big ball of green acrylic yarn. I love this shade of green. And then I also have white. And I rarely crochet with white, so I kind of knew that this might not work in the design that I want. And of course, I started off by using a 4mm crochet hook. I use this crochet hook for absolutely everything. So I sat down and watched Gilmore Girls because it's that time of the year and I began crocheting some granny squares. So I'm not going to talk too much about this process because I didn't end up using the granny squares. So here is what the finished granny square looks like, and I really dislike the combination. In fact, I hate the combination. The white just doesn't look good
with the brown and the green. Like, obviously the colors do go well together, but this is definitely not what I had in mind. I did not want to make a tote bag using these colors. I think it looked a lot better in my head, but when I actually executed it and when I actually finished making the granny square, I was like, yeah, no, this is not the one. And it kind of reminds me of something Christmas themed. Like, obviously I don't celebrate Christmas, but the colors remind me of gingerbread, snow, and green as well. Green for like holly branches or those wreaths that you put outside your house. And I just did not want that vibe. So I decided to start again. And my next idea was just to crochet the bag with just the green yarn completely. And again, that was a really bad idea. So I decided to take a break. I slept, I drank some tea, this lemon and peppermint tea. Then I woke up the next day and I tried to have new ideas. As you can see, I got a bunch of different yarn and I put that on my desk, but I didn't like the pink yarn. So then I decided to opt for this red yarn. So the colors that I used in this video were that green that I showed you in the beginning of the video, some brown yarn, some other green yarn, and this red yarn. So yeah, we went through a lot of mind changes. But after I got the color palette down, that's when I had the idea of making a secret garden themed tote bag. And I started making these squares in the evening. I will show you guys the pattern and the tutorial that I used for this video. I will link in the description box below. But I did use the same the same granny square design for my previous video when I was doing some autumn themed room decor. So it was second nature to me, to be honest. I just had to glance at the pattern again just to refresh my memory. But after that, I was crocheting all of the squares, and I had to crochet a total of 10 different squares. So if you guys want to make this tutorial as well, want to make this bag as well, I will link the tutorial in the description box below. And yeah, I made 10 squares in total. So these are flower granny squares. So there's a flower in the center, and I thought this was an excellent touch. It really did look like my mood board because I have lots of red flowers on there as well. And I decided to make all my center pieces first. So I used this cream color, this off-white color. I really don't like crocheting with white, and I need to know why. Like, it just makes projects look so ugly to me. Having an off-white or cream is the best compromise. That's the closest to white that I'll ever get. Maybe I need to make a video only crocheting with white yarn, and we'll see how crazy I become. So yeah, I did all the centers with the off-white color, and then I began crocheting my red yarn, and I was crocheting the flower petals. My desk actually looks very autumnal. I love the color palette so much more than the other square that I did, and this design is so pretty. I love the little flower in the middle. I've changed the design of the bag on numerous occasions in my head. Usually I do like to draw out my ideas and then just, work based on the drawing. However, with this bag, since I was using the yarn that I already had in my room and I couldn't buy any more yarn, I decided just to freehand everything and just make it a little bit more spontaneous. And yes, that did cause me to waste a little bit of time and waste a bit of yarn as well with the first granny square that I made, but it also made me realize that I should use other colors and other designs as well. I definitely did use Pinterest. I browsed Pinterest for a little bit to try and find some ideas that will help me make a good looking bag. And instead of this being a autumn slash fall themed bag, I think I just want it to be based on nature, almost like a secret garden type of aesthetic. So I've changed my mind from the beginning of this video, which is so crazy, but I really like the idea of this instead, and I'm really excited excited to add some designs and add some keychains onto this bag, like some frogs, mushrooms, flowers, and maybe even some butterflies as well. And with these straps of the bag and the opening of the bag, I want to add ruffles so it kind of looks like vines or some curly plants or some odd looking branches and leaves on trees. So hopefully I do execute that part of the bag well, and you will understand what I'm saying when I'm designing the finished bag. And I don't think this will take too long. Initially, I wanted this bag to only consist of 3 granny squares. I'll put a picture on the screen of what I wanted the bag style to look like. But then I was like, I don't want to do it like that. I prefer a different design. So now I'm making 10 granny squares instead of 3. And I have work tomorrow as well. So today I want to get the base of the bag done, like the entire bag done. And then I can do all the decorations when I'm on my way to work and when I'm at work, like during break time. So I think that would be very, very beneficial. So I'm literally just gonna crochet for the rest of the day. Right now, let's check what time it is. Right now it is 20 to 1 in the afternoon, so I do have a lot of time to get through. Hopefully I can get all these squares done. But yeah, I need 10 in total. So far I've only done 1 square because I'm doing all of the parts separately, so I have 1 complete square, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm just going to continue. I will take breaks for lunch or just to make a cup of tea or something, and then I'll get straight back into it. Like, even if I do complete all the squares today, I can still assemble the bag tomorrow. So my goal is just to finish all the squares at least, and I think it is doable. I don't really have anything to do today. It's kind of cold, a bit rainy as well, so I don't really have a reason to go outside. So yeah, I'm just going to continue. I have 4 more left to do with the red flower in the center. It's actually a week later. I haven't crocheted for an entire week. So let's try and get these squares done today. It's a must. I can't go another day without completing these squares. And today's Sunday, and I have work tomorrow. So yeah, this is the only option to get it done today. Today is such a cozy day. Yesterday I was really busy. I was shopping all day, and Birmingham is kind of far from me, so it took me like an hour 20 minutes to get to town. And then I bought some cozy pajamas, some fluffy socks, some gloves and scarves and everything because the clocks have gone back. The temperature is getting a lot colder, so I need to stay warm. So this morning we are going to make a cup of hot chocolate with marshmallows.
يكتب بالمكتوب ونكون حداك يا قلبي شوف هواك وين رماني فوق بحر صافي بمواج وداني معاه تبع رياح الحب وعندك حطني ودعني وصاني وقلي حبيبك ما تنساه زينة
Is a progress update. So I have 1 full square complete, and here are the colors. This is what it looks like, and it really does look very autumn themed as well because of how dark the colors are and how well they all go together as well. It looks like a leaf almost. So I do have a couple more squares to do. I'm in the process of putting a dark green border around all my other squares. So I have these left. I have, how many squares do I have left? I have 4 more left, more like 4.5 to do this dark green border. And then after I do the dark green border, I'm going to do the brown border, and then the square is complete. So I'm literally not going to get up until I've done all these squares. They shouldn't take me too long. I don't know why I've been procrastinating so much, but once I have the squares done, hopefully we can assemble the bag today. But I do need to vacuum my floor because it has lots of lint on it. It might not be showing up on camera, but when I assemble my bag, I don't want there to be lint on the floor because yarn catches lint very easily. So let's get started and crochet. After I crocheted all the squares, I began weaving in the ends. Definitely my least favorite process, but I've been doing it for a while, so I've got really used to weaving in all of the ends, and I did that late at night as well. And when I finished weaving in all of the ends, I blocked my squares as well, so they are nice and flat. I got home from work about an hour and a half ago. I ate dinner and got ready for bed. So now let's sew some of our squares together and just assemble the main shape of the bag. Hopefully I can sew everything tonight. If I don't have time, I will just do it in the morning or at work. Now it's time to sew all these squares together, and I made a cup of milk tea with cinnamon and cardamom, and then I got right into work. One thing about me is that I will not use a tutorial unless it's absolutely necessary. So I just sat down with all my squares and tried arranging them in a way that makes sense, because I pictured this bag with 10 squares only. So I had to arrange them in a way where I fold them and then it assembles a bag, if that makes sense. So once you've sewed all the squares together, so it's one big sheet of fabric, and then when you fold it upwards, that would be the shape of your bag. So it was a little bit challenging. I have 2 squares remaining, and this is what the bag design looks like. I'm not sure where I'm supposed to put these 2 squares. As you can tell, I'm just freehanding it. I'm just winging the entire thing. I'm too tired to be looking for a tutorial, but I do believe I have the top okay and the bottom done, and then these 2 squares for the sides. But I have 2 remaining. Let me think about it. I'm a bit tired. My mind has gone blank. Oof. I think I could put it here and here. Yeah, I think putting it here and here will make sense, and then they fold in half, forming a triangle shape. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay. Okay, this is the final design. I think it looks really good, and I think it makes sense because this part here is going to fold up to match this part, because they're both the same design, so they both create a V shape. And then we have these 2 for the base of the bag, and then these 2, the square here and that square there, to fold in half to kind of make the design. Hopefully that makes sense, and you guys will see when I sew everything together. Right now though, my camera is literally flashing red, so I'm gonna sew a couple of these together and then I'll get back to you. I'm literally just sewing the pieces like this, so sewing along here, all these 3 squares together, these 2 squares together, and then these 4 squares together, and then I'll sew this square to this square. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, I don't like bag designs like this. It requires quite a little bit of thinking, but I'm sure we will execute it perfectly fine. Okay, so first of all, let's just ignore how dusty my carpet is. I do need to vacuum it. I create so many things in my room, so there's like a lot of cotton, bits of yarn and everything, but it doesn't look too bad on camera. But here is a progress update. It's the next evening and I have the entire bag sewn together. As you can see, I have a couple loose ends, but I will weave those in another time, like when the entire bag is done. So in the previous clip, I showed how I assembled, how I was going to sew all the squares together. And then with the awkward squares at the end of the bag, I just folded them in with a triangle like this. Let me know if you want an in-depth tutorial on how I assemble this bag, because I would love to show you guys. But the bag is almost finished, so I'm going to finish off the bag using this green yarn for all the details, mainly because I ran out of the red yarn. I ran out of this green yarn, and I also ran out of brown yarn, so I don't really have a choice in terms of what color I could potentially use to finish off the bag, but I think this will be okay. So I was researching a lot into secret gardens and that type of vibe, and a lot of the gardens have these really nice vines, these whimsical vines that just run through the brick walls and just run through the entire garden as a whole. And that would be a really, really nice detail to add onto the bag. Obviously, this is not a garden. It's based off of a garden. So I'm thinking of making a ruffly border because obviously the opening of this bag is not done. It's just not neat. And that's one thing that I don't like about these granny square bags, is that you just have to neaten up the opening of the bag if you want it to look presentable. So I'm going to, first of all, single crochet all the way around the opening of the bag in this green yarn, and then I'm going to do a ruffle stitch. So a ruffle stitch, I'm just gonna wing it. I'll write on the screen what I'm doing because I'm not sure how many stitches I want to add in one stitch to give it that really nice gathered effect, but you guys will be seeing what I'm doing now. So I need to go downstairs, grab my tripod, and then we're gonna crochet. And I am watching Gilmore Girls. I'm rewatching Gilmore Girls. I'm not sure if I mentioned that in any of the previous clips in this video because this video was filmed over a really long time. But yeah, I'm rewatching that, so I'll watch a couple episodes and then sort out the bag. So yeah, we'll do the opening tonight, and then hopefully tomorrow after work, yeah, I don't really feel like crocheting at work. After work, I'll make the straps, and then we could also think of what designs to add on there. Maybe some butterflies, some flowers, or just something. And yeah, so let me go grab my tripod and then we'll get crocheting. Also, I forgot to mention the tea for tonight is this mint tea, and I put some honey in it as well. This is so good, especially after you've eaten a heavy meal, because I just ate lamb chops and rice, which is kind of heavy on my stomach. So this really helps with digestion. So I'm gonna drink this as I'm crocheting, and I also have a couple oranges as well. I haven't had much fruit today. I forgot to mention the crochet hook that I'm using for the rest of this bag. It is a couple weeks later actually, and I managed to finish the front of my bag, like the opening of the bag with all the details. So I decided to single crochet all the way around the opening, and then in those single crochets I added 4 double crochets, and then in the next stitch I slip stitched, then in the next stitch 4 double crochets, and then the stitch after is a slip stitch to create this very ruffled look. And I think this looks absolutely amazing. I love the design. So anyway, enough about that. Next, I need to work on the straps. So the straps are very, very easy to make. All you have to do is chain a few. I chained 4, and then I skipped 1 stitch, and then I just worked up half double crochets through the entire strap. But I wanted to make the straps a little bit more unique, so I added a ruffle border around both edges. So I followed the same pattern as I did for the opening of my bag. So I did 4 double crochets, slip stitch, 4 double crochets, slip stitch, and I created this amazing design, and I'm really impressed with how it came out. And now we are working on the absolute finishing touches. So I just need to sew my straps onto the bag and then weave in a couple ends, and then I'll think of what accessories that I want to add to the bag as well to really tie into that secret garden aesthetic. For the finishing touches of the bag, I decided not to do anything too crazy, mainly because I was tired, and I've been working on this bag for a whole month. So I just wanted the entire bag to be done. So I decided just to add one little charm, and I just followed this quick tutorial on how to crochet a mushroom. I will link that in the description box below. But honestly, halfway through the tutorial, I just stopped watching and I just started doing my own thing. So I will still link the tutorial in the description box below regardless if you guys want to follow it. And then I attached some string through the little mushroom and tied it onto my bag. You can use metal keychains if you want, like those empty keychain packs, but I decided just to stick with yarn because I don't have any empty keychains. So I just tied a knot through the strap. And just like that, the bag is complete, and I'm obsessed with how it turned out. I love the colors, I love the different textures in terms of the straps and how they resemble vines, and the opening around the bag, the ruffled opening is just so pretty. And the little mushroom adds a nice touch onto it. And I still can't believe that I condensed 1 month worth of footage into a video that is a couple minutes long, but anyway, that is the power of editing. But I really like how the bag turned out, and I am going to add some lining. I'll probably add some off-white lining, definitely not green. I think there's a bit too much green going on here, but just a contrasting color I think would do a really nice job. Alright guys, that is the end of today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and as always, I will see you in the next one.